Welcome back everybody into part 2 of the review of my backtesting of euro-dollar, and we left with Friday the 1st of July, and we're going now to move with the 4th of July, Monday. So of course now that I think about it, it was a public holiday, bank holiday in the USA, so probably the volume will not be ideal, but let's have a look at it. So the price was moving. I mean, remember that Euro is heavily also traded during the London session, so even without the US volume, there can still be some good trades. So let's see. What I was looking for were, of course, buys at these areas, PPL, and only sells below this previous PSA. So let's have a look at what I actually did, if we also saw some breakout below. So we never saw the break above. You can see that the overall, you can see it already during this first part of the New York session. The price action was very small, very slow. We were making a small, slow and steady downtrend, failing to make new lows below this level. Yes, so you can see that I had some bounce buys, but not really relevant. I mean, this would probably be like 6-7 pips, not enough to take a win, but for sure not to take a loss. That will not be okay. Another here, same thing. Price digs a little bit below, then breaks and retest, but again, after price goes to 5 pips, then it gets stopped out at break even. Multiple attempts to make new highs, failing. I'm not absolutely looking for sells because it's a very slow volume, and yeah, just that. As you can see, the expectation of being the 4th of July now is actually confirmed. Let's go on Tuesday. Now what I'm looking for is sells at these levels, sells at these levels, just plain out sells, not really looking for buys. So as you can see here, we start the New York session and we have this nice rejection at the PSA and the PPL. Remember how nice the rejections are when they actually happen at a PPL and not just in the middle of the range. So first trade taken here with candle confirmations and just simply to the downside. So range to range, as you can see, the price is moving very nice. Now we see that the price is showing some bearish pressure. That's mainly because, I mean, it's quite an order block being created by both, because it's not only about bearish pressure, but it's about also there's not enough bullish, there's not enough bearish. It's just trading at these lows. So what I was looking for was, of course, sells below this area. So when we actually see this strong break below the level, we are waiting, of course, for the retest. Especially, usually maybe on gold, this retest is like a couple of retests, and then it just goes down. This with EurUsd, you have 3 to 6 minutes to take advantage of it. Multiple breaks, multiple wicks left on the top and failure to breaks above. I took my entry. This entry, the one with the bullish candle closing with the rejection, is the one that I was talking about in the previous video, but you have multiple entry opportunities even with a nice confirmation. Of course, we're failing to make new highs, so that's a good confirmation for sells. Taking the first scalp, and then we see the continuation bearish. So we understand now that, of course, now we are in a bearish state and bearish bias, looking only for sells. We see a nice break below. This one is not a clear breakout. I still have to understand and see live when this is, for example, a nice breakout from these lows. This one is not. It's not a nice breakout. So this one is so small and so choppy that this candle entry is not really ideal, but luckily ends up in a break even. We see now a deeper pullback. Of course, now this was the overall bearish move, and we see a retracement exactly at 61.8. As you can see, the best entry was taken. This is the same kind of confirmation that I was talking about. that you have sort of the repetition that you can see it, this candle closing after tapping the PPL, but still having multiple attempts, multiple trade entries, opportunities, and to take advantage of these sell scalps. Even if now the PPL the price will bounce, you are still taking your scalp because it's a nice entry. If you entered over there, now this would be probably, if the price went like this would be a break even, and that's why it matters to enter as soon as possible. Okay, now we are still on a bearish bias. Now the price is making a deeper pullback and sort of, I think it's also getting late, but still after tapping these lows, fails to break above. This is a huge PSA on the 1 minute. You can see how it affected multiple candles on this 1 minute chart in the last 30 minutes, I would say, an hour. And that's where you could have had further continuation sells at this confirmation level. Now, I would say that it's not really ideal to enter over there because it's not a PPL, it's not nothing, but this is a good confirmation of the continuation sells. And now this one, for example, after price came back into the trend, this entry is actually way better because it's exactly entering at the candle close, at the bullish candle close at the PPL. Now then you take your profits, and then again now you have multiple confirmation. Simply by not changing any bias, simply taking any opportunity you have at the PPL or area, EurUsd can give you multiple opportunities. Maybe on gold, if the price went to retest this area multiple times, it could have gone up. But yeah, that's how EurUsd works compared to the other one. And then again, further continuation sells below this level. We have a breakdown and then candle closing exactly at the PPL for possible continuation sells. So one buy sell, and every pullback, every PPL, that's just a very nice day. Wednesday, looking for sells, pullback sell, pullback sell, pullback sell. Now as you can see, I'm sort of starting to shift into a well, okay, let's look at the PPLs, because especially the PPLs are acting very nice and are helping the market structure. Only buys above these order block highs. Let's have a look at what happens. As you can see, a lot of wins. Talking about the same setup. So same setup, candle bullish closing over there. Now also you can enter at a double top at the same level, failing to break, because if you wanted to break, it will break. But in this case, it's just closed at the area at the PPL for a quick scalp. Then taking a possible continuation scalp with the price staying below. As you can see, price is staying a little bit. We are taking the trade a little bit further away from the PPL. If I entered, for example, over there, probably would have had like a 5 pips stop loss and trigger the break even. But anyway, it's fine to have a loss. Now here, in anticipation of the continuation sell, taking an entry at the same level, same PSA, goes to break even because it makes a double bottom. This double bottom is happening at the retest of this previous order block exactly on the left hand side, not flipping into a bullish bias, just waiting for a deeper pullback. When the price is reaching this next PPL and PSA, you have two very nice opportunities for quick scalps. So this one is a candle closing, or the following candle bearish, or this one, which is very, very nice. It's actually nice bullish candle, which closes exactly below my PSA and PPL, give you the nice best entry. Just if the price was just to range like this, that's where you could have taken your profits. If you wait to enter over there, maybe you don't get your profits because the price doesn't break the range. So for example, let's say you enter over there, you don't take your profit because now this one doesn't tap your profit, and then you see the price go back to your entry. Then continuation sells, we are seeing lower highs, lower lows. Now we are seeing a break below, multiple candles. There's actually a 2 candles confirmation with a nice engulfing bearish candle. That's where I took my entry. 10 pips is enough to get safely to this previous PSA, not just hoping to tap the lows. So it's actually a nice TP. And again, now pullback entry, it's the best entry, and that's where you could have entered. In this case, the candle close at the area is not nice, but you can already identify why. In this case, it was safe, but the PPL, the red line, always gives you better entries than the middle of the range. So after the confirmation of the tap here, that's where you could have entered at a candle close to take your scalp. Continuation scalp below this level in the middle of the range is not really nice, but it was not a bad idea because price was staying below this previous order block. So it's a break even and it's good enough. Then attempting to take further sells at the same PSA. As you can see, this could as well be an accumulation. I don't know why this isn't a break-even trade. This is clearly 5 pips, but yeah, failed to make new lows, and that's where the price then goes back to your entry. But that's still a good bias, keeping the same bias. Thursday, sticking to a sell, close as close to the PPL as possible. As you can see here, you can already see in this area, it's much better to stick to the PPL entries compared to a little bit below, because the price will go and react at the PPLs more than the simple rectangle that we have on the chart. So first, we have the confirmation. This is in the middle of the range. I don't want to talk about it. Now we see price breaking below. I take this sell, goes to break even. Then I want to take the end of the pullback because this is similar to this one, but now price is showing you bearish price action, but it's failing to showing you the shift of the price action. You enter over there, goes like 6-7 pips, I would say, then goes back to break even. Of course, if you just leave your stop loss over there, in this case it will be a profitable one, but it's a break even, and then you take your profit over there because you have enough confirmation. And as you can see, I also took this entry based on the PPL, not based on the actual PSA. Yes, I could have taken further entries over there, for example at this candle. I could have taken that, but the PPL gives you more reaction and more confirmation. So first entry, then I took a break even because I entered the top of this one. Simply the price didn't have enough momentum to keep going bearish, stayed over there and then just got out at break even. Again, now this one is a loss. I want to, even this entry would have been fine because I want to take advantage of the pullback and continuation sells. I'm not changing into the bias, so that's fine. It's very good that I try to understand that where is this pullback possibly ending, and it's having a nice reaction. You can see the size of the candle. I don't know if now this is like probably New York Stock Exchange open, and you have a vacuum and a continuation bearish. So that's probably a session or hourly close or open. Because of this spike in volatility, liquidity grab, and that's where you could have your confirmation of sells. As you can see, candle closing below the PPL would have given you much better entries than the candle entry below the PSA. Also, the PSA gave you multiple further candle confirmation. Now here, this is another sell, quite early, and especially it's quite early because yes, we are staying below this level, but we have this huge order block that we failed to break below. So I don't know, it's not really amazing as an entry. This best entry would have been over here. That's a missed entry because if I'm only looking for sells, then I should be able to take this entry, I would say. Yes, the candles are closing quite far away from the area. That's why as close as possible I would have entered to take advantage of the continuation, but yeah, just sticking to sells below actually with the confirmation below the PSA would have been much better. Probably this one not, because it's not a pullback, but this pullback entry is actually the best, I would say. For scalp, you enter over there, that's 10 pips more than enough for you again. And let's move on. So let's continue. Messy price action. Analysis very much depend on NFP, of course. We could turn into sells or buys. This one is considering more considering the last bullish lower time frame structure, and because of, you can see here we are making higher highs, but that's not taking into consideration the huge sell pressure that was coming before. So that was a backtesting into backtesting. As you can see, so now the first idea was actually the one that played out the best. And as you can see here, we had NFP. I don't remember what happened, but you can see here that this is NFP, and just sticking to the bias, okay, and not taking into consideration possible ideas of what should happen. This is the kind of confirmation after the rejection at my entry and the PPL. The entry in this case would be a live entry, so I don't know if in live I would be able to do so. Sometimes I feel like I can be looking for that, but as you can see here, the best entry would have been here. Just let the dust settle. You have a clean break and retest, candle closing exactly at your entry. That's where you could have taken your entry. This is could have been also like a 20 pip TP, 20 pip scalp. Now same area, looking for a rejection, but in this case is a loss, and that's absolutely fine. Now we are retesting the 75% with a huge candle entry, and it's a loss, and it's absolutely fine. I don't know if maybe I will be able to adapt into and put it at break even around here, because I don't know if it's even 5 pips, but understanding that we are failing to break the last price action, but I don't know, it's not the topic. Then since I'm not looking for sells over there, maybe I will take this one is a sell that I missed, and probably would have been a break-even trade or a small win. Here I was only looking for buys above, not sells, but should have, as per simply looking at the market structure, that's a very nice and welcoming sell that played out for like 30 pips. Now understanding the shift, because when I see this price action, that's a shift in market structure after a clean break and a pullback. This is probably 61% retracement at the PPL double bottom. That's where I took my bullish entry, changing the bias, and then continuation bullish, because as we see this exact setup when I told you we have a bullish break, then a small bearish candle closing exactly at the PSA, not exactly, but yes, and then continuation bullish, another buy where there was no real confirmation, but yeah, and then another continuation buy when I saw the continuation bullish of the trend line and whatever. So that was it. On the next Monday following the NFP, looking simply for sells. Now you can see that most of the price action that I'm looking at and the entry areas are PPLs, and some random in the middle of the range, only looking for buys above the PPL. It's now a rule that I will only look for looking for buys above this level. And let's see what actually happens. Okay, very nice and clean break and retest. You can see sometimes it's not very exactly at the VPL. It's just a little bit below, above, sorry, but it creates a double top, and that gives you the confirmation of entry. Of course, if you enter there, your 5 pips TP, that is still safe, I would say, and you probably have your TP, your stop loss here. That's why if you enter over there and not enter over here, that's why you are safe. As per stop loss, this was my entry at the break of the double bottom leg in continuation down. Then I'm still seeing still on a bearish side. So what I see is,
Okay, I take first a breaker retest, which I'm not good at, but I keep doing it. Then after a deeper pullback, which almost taps the PPL, when I see some bearish strength coming into play, I take the sells, and those play out in a couple of minutes. Continuation sells after we have this is a pullback because it's a 10 pip pullback. This is the bearish downside. This is a 60%, I would say, retracement on the upside. And then when the candle confirmation is closing below the PPL with the momentum, with the volume on the chart, that's where you can take your quick scalp. Breaker retest in continuation, not really worth it, but taking a loss. Again, now failing to break above multiple times this previous PSA, and for a quick scalp, and then below the PPL after grabbing liquidity, after the creation of an order block and accumulation, that's where I take another scalp. So this entry should be enough. This entry, those should be very good enough. Then we see a deeper pullback with the kind of confirmation that I need to enter like straight away at the bottom of the order block. This would be like a 75% retracement of the overall bearish move. And yeah, then continuation, because we tap our PSA and we continue bearish. Yes, we might say, yeah, but you are just trading the pullbacks because the price action after this double bottom is just going bullish, retracement bullish. Yes, but if it's still a good enough trade range, that's more than enough, doesn't change much. I took another sell attempt to take advantage of this possible end of the pullback. Is a normal loss, as you can see here. Percentage wise, the wins are so much more than losses, and most of the losses are actually break even if you take a 3-to-1, because this one work out pretty immediately. Probably like this one, I should have entered over there to avoid this spike up, because sometimes you can see price goes 5 pips and then spikes back up. So if, for example, if this one was 5 pips, this spike up would have taken me out at break even. So that's, or even like here, this one would have been, of course, for sure a break even trade. So that's actually something that I have to take into consideration. So that's what I wanted to do. Here. Be careful with 1-to-1 break even rule, because it can take you out many times before moving in your direction. So that's something good to take into consideration. Then what? Yeah, let's move on. We'll find others done and blah 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 blah. Re-enter if the same PSA is not broken, and because maybe the liquidity was simply not there, like here or like here. If I simply need to find some more liquidity. Here I was looking for buys at every PPL, and is actually what happens. First one is a loss because it dips a little bit below, then finds its way back up. As you can see, this is exactly the setup that I was talking about. Some momentum, some liquidity grab a little bit below what I expected. Also, this stop loss is very, very nice and painful. Entering at this low of the bearish candle, that would be the best entry. Probably giving you a full TP, like a 10, 7, 8 pips, I don't know. Then another break even after there is a retest. As you can see here, price might take some time before going back up, going in the direction because of needed to grab liquidity, but it gives you multiple candle confirmation. As you can see here, yeah, the entry over there would have been like a 10 pip over here. So yeah, that's entry. That's the same. So we have a bullish price action, a bearish candle closing exactly the PPL. That could be your entry. Continuation up, same spike at the PSA before continuation up, and same spike. Then not waiting for pullbacks, taking losses and break even, and then again after a deeper pullback, which I should always be looking for. That's when we have enough liquidity to go back up. So after, if we fail to break above here, at least now it's a break even. Here is, I need a deeper liquidity grab, but that's still good. 1, 2, 3, 4 wins is very good with 2, because it's already 2 to 1, and the losses or break even is very good. So it's 45. It's still a 5, a very profitable day. Sticking to buys. As you can see here, this was a very high volatility day. Break even, small win before the news, which is not advisable. Just take advantage of some. No, this is bullshit. Then some big news. Failed to sell. I took a sell here, but as you can see here, there was no confirmation for sells, not a pullback. It was not breaking below and then a small pullback, so it was a very bad trade. Then sticking to buy. Every single buy that I could take after making a up, trading up, making a pullback, up, pullback, double bottom, continuation up, grabbing some liquidity, then continuation up, continuation up, continuation break a retest. I don't like this entry, but it was a PSA. Then very aggressive. Now this, for example, is exactly the setup that I was talking about. Like here, as you can see, it's exactly bullish candle, bearish candle closing at the PPL. Then a bearish candle closing exactly at the PSA. Enter. Okay. And and then a continuation bullish afterwards. Bullish, let's say like this. Bullish candle, bearish candle, exactly over there, and so that's very good to see and to understand. Sticking to a single bias, and that's where further buys over here, further buys at the end of the pullback. This one I don't like it, but this one yes, and this one is the same PSA. As you can see here, it's a very good looking and tempting PSA that has been broken and retested as well. Best the PPL than the actual area. As you can see, the PPL gave us better entries than this random area in the middle of the range. So let's even here. Let's move on. Thursday, middle of June, looking for sells mainly, increased spike in volatility. As you can see here, candle closing exactly at the PPL. For a quick sell scalp, then the volume dies, I would say, and we only have a spike up, which this one is the same setup here. It's the same setup. This is probably this is before the news, so I don't know if whatever, but it's a vacuum just for continuation sells, liquidity grab for the continuation sells, and that's where could have also been an entry over there, I would say. And there you go. Now with the dust settling, we have this aggressive bearish candle, and when we have at the end of the pullback with this candle grabbing liquidity at the PPL and closing bearish, that's where I could take your sell. This is a possible continuation sells. Now I'm looking for the retracement of the overall move. So I'm looking at 50% from further scalps. And as you can see, this is a win. And at 61, at the PPL, I took a sell but did not work out. Price was now creating higher highs and higher lows, but you don't know if you don't try. As you can see, price is now making higher highs and higher lows, retesting these previous PSAs. and possibly there could have been a possible shift in bias, knowing that USD pairs do that often. Here, sticking to the sell after this increased spike in volatility, is probably the 10 a.m. candle, if I'm not mistaken, by the looks of it. Taking the sell after the top of the PSA and closing below the PPL. First sell scalp, then continuation here on the downside, and then another attempt, which I don't know what was the size, if maybe the TP was missed by a little bit. But anyway, that's good. A good day. Friday, only looking for buys, and as you can see, sticking to that. So taking the buys in the middle when you see this aggressive spike up in volatility and momentum, taking the retest while taking this break and retest of this low, but it's fine. As long as I'm taking this entry at the PPL. As you can see, if I take my entries at the PPL, they are much better. This buy after the deeper pullback, it's fine that it doesn't work. I don't know if I should wait for a deeper pullback before attempting a second buy like this. Otherwise, it's just not working. So I took 2 wins and 3 losses. I took a 4 loss at the candle close, and yeah, that's quite rough. Yes, this area is okay, but it's not the PPL. This candle is too aggressive to enter, and I don't know why I shifted to sell bias. I don't like it, but I should be looking only for buys. So as you can see here, yes, we are making, I don't know if now this is like a 75% retracement, multiple candle confirmation. If I entered over there, that was a pre-planned area. Otherwise, if I enter like this, it means that is not. And as you can see, I'm also missing the buys that were, if I was only looking for buys over here, over here, over here, this is still a higher low, and we have another block with multiple failure to break below. That's where I could have entered some buys to take advantage of this movement. I took advantage actually at the break above the PPL and this previous order block for another quick scalp. Then deeper pullback at this previous PSA that was already the bullish one, creating a little bit order block, continuation bullish, break above, and retest of the PPL for further buys. So even though these 1, 2, 3, 4 losses were quite rough, if I quit the charts, I would not be able to stick to my own bias and take advantage of the 30 buys at 3 areas, end up with the losses that will most likely take me out of the markets. Then for the price action, it proved me to be bullish. So that's something that is very good to understand, that, okay, stay in the market, just stay as clear as possible. And that will help, because you don't know when the price action will be. Couldn't be easier. Simply, okay, you take one first loss, but that's good. You understand the price needs a little bit more liquidity. Same setup, bullish candle retesting over there, coming from below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just simply, as you can see, how simple it is to enter at PPLs, 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 PPLs. So that's nothing that I can really talk about it for this case. Moving on, still, now you see how identifying these areas as PPL is way better, and taking the buys of them, it's much easier. July sells at the PPL is way better. Taking first a risk I reward sell, then this buy, I'm not really liking it. Yes, it's a nice change, from bearish to bullish, but I don't know if there was any fundamentals for this shift, but still being able to stick to sell as per pre-planned. Just in this case, I took advantage of also of the buy pullback. I don't know if there was fundamentals, I don't know. Interest rate decision, sell. As you can see, yeah, PPL a little bit above the PPL. It's always the best. And now, yeah, as you can see, no sells, no reason, because it goes through it. And then you have to shift into bullish bias, because as you can see, after the break above our PSA, 10 pips, 10. Look at this bearish candle, that's the best entry. And then buy anywhere that you see the end of the pullback. As you can see here, 10 pips on the upside. then simple continuation down, because when you see you have the break below your PSA for the sells, your PPLs, you see that the candle is closing. It gives you the best reaction at the PPL, not at this in the middle of the range. For further sells, sells, I would say sells, simple, just continuation below every PPL until it stops. Then you see the reaction over here. This would have been another sell, and shifting this bullish, I don't like it. I don't like it really much. I like this deeper pullback for possible continuation sells over there. Backtest for measure sell, I don't really like it. Yes, I earned like 100k in a day, but not so. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, only wins. It's absolutely not realistic. I was only looking for sells, only buys above this level, which was actually happened. I attempted a few sells as per pre-plan, but failed to do so. Yes, the price action was showing me, as you can see here, some liquidity, break below, goes to break even, grabs some liquidity at the same level, goes below, and enter at the candle close at the bullish candle retest, goes into a loss. That's part of the game. Then what we see is a shift in market structure, and we take advantage of the buys above the area. Buys, and buys. These four are way better than just two of these ones. Buys, only buys. So as you can see, PPL is simply the best entry, not in the middle of the range, because they give you the best reaction. Tuesday 20, okay, sells, exactly, sells at PPL, sells at PPLs, sell at PPL as close as possible to the PPL. As you can see now, the price action, price sensitivity area are getting closer and closer to the PPL, probably and understanding it. Look at this. Now I was looking for buys. So this candle, if you can see, I was probably on the bad side of it. I took a sell over here after the rejection, and as you can see here, this candle closure are the one that I was talking about as well, where the candle closed exactly with the rejection and closing at the PPL for nice entries. Then I turn into sells over here, sells into there. It's just understanding this reaction. I don't know why I was looking that much for sells, but that's what I did, because that's the price action. What the price action was telling me that. The price action was telling me that this is a double top, then we're staying below, staying below, staying below, staying below. So that didn't make any sense to keep looking for buys. Yes, we had some buys over there. You can also, now I was looking for sells here, but no buys over there. So yeah. After seeing the shift in market structure, so one PSA to become a resistance, then a continuation sells. Exactly this one, turning a resistance and then continuation sells. End of July, as you can see here, PPLs to PPL. Was looking for sells. I don't know what was that. Failed to understand the resistance turn support. As you can see, not a good day, but 2 wins, 3 losses. Still, I think it was one of the only losing day, I would say. And yeah, 1 break even, 1 loss, another loss for the buys above this level. Probably missed by a little bit. And that's also why, because look at the entry was there. The entry should have been exactly at the PPL. If the entry would have been here, as per pre-planned, that would have been more than a 10 pips TP. So that was the problem. This entry again, the same. This entry was the failure to understand that this resistance turn support. Here I understood. And then again, breaking, nice break below. This is a picture perfect, very strong, break below, very strong pullback and very strong rejection. That's where you take your entry on the continuation bearish. That's a picture perfect pullback entry, is exactly over there. And okay, end of July, looking for sells, below, sell below this level, and then what we're going to see, a first loss, then a continuation sell. That was quite rough because as you can see, the stop loss was hit, and this could have been the entry. This stop loss was hit, and I had to enter straight away. Afterwards, that's because the stop loss was, I don't know if the stop loss was placed wrong, but the price action just needed a little bit more liquidity, and then the same loss, but then understanding the shift and turning into a win. Then 1st of August, win, buys, not looking for sells. There's no reason looking for sells. Yeah, maybe this breaker retest doesn't make sense. This break, this buy doesn't make, yeah, it's what I was talking about, but it's not coming from a liquidity grab, so not really relevant. And then understanding it, and then not, yeah, taking the first tap. Look at how nice the price action is matching the PPLs, so that's good. Still ending up in a win. That's very nice due to the requires multiple entries at the same PSA. Then only looking for sells, sell, pullback, sell, pullback, sell, pullback, sell at PPL, at whatever, pullback, sell. Look at this nice PPL. Only this one could have been 1 and 2, could have been worth the whole day. No need to trade more, just these 2 trades, and that's good to go. The 3rd of August, only looking for buys. Before the news, I just wait for the news, even if it's later in New York, which was over here. So the price action is very poor compared to much cleaner and nicer PSA price action afterwards. Look at the trend compared to here. Look at this trend. And yeah, then after just a couple of days, buys, PPL. This entry, okay, was not a PPL, but look at how many rejection already we had. So that's a relevant PSA. But look, the PPL always gives you way better entries. Nothing before the NFP, and then continuation sells as per pre-planned. Sells. Okay, you take a loss, you take another entry, pullback entry is always better, and pullback entry below the PPL, 75% retracement goes, and that's good to go. And yeah, this one is over 1 million. I don't know why it's showing as 1 point something. Okay, so what was this? No, 1006 6,819. So of course in this one we went from 1k to 1 million in a couple of months, but of course it's not really realistic and reliable. Absolutely, I'm not counting on that, but the notes of this one, PPL reacts better than middle of the range, place PSA accordingly, and enter PPLs. This is probably the most important one. Downshift bias, cannot set up exactly the PPL, price could still go a little beyond, but you are giving the trade the best opportunity, and otherwise simply enter a couple of times. This is a 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And yeah, single candle tap is not a good confirmation. Very nice entry close to PPL is when price is coming from below That's the one that we saw over here. Price is coming from below, retest closing exactly over there for continuation up, and that's the best entry. And price is standing very well, so take all the trades, pullback entries. Be careful with what because it can take you out many times. So that's the main takeaway from this backtesting session. No, I can't do that. But let's do like this. Okay. So now it should be still be good. And the format, okay. Yeah. Backtesting. So I will copy and paste this one. Okay. And these are what this is what actually was useful from this review, and that's absolutely very important to do so. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you tomorrow.